Merry Meet. Today I'm going to be showing you a walkthrough of the Crystal Grid Oracle, Spiritual Guidance Using Nature's Tools by Nicola McIntosh. This is the box. It's a very sturdy box that you can hold your cards in. They won't get damaged. This is the booklet that it comes with. And it's a pretty decent regular size booklet that most Oracle decks come with. And they tell you introduction to the author and to the purpose of this deck, how to use the cards. They give you some different spreads you can use. And then they go into the cards. They give you a colored picture. They give you the the energy. Let me actually find that card because the book is actually giving you more information. So this is the card this is the first card in the book, and this is the card from the deck. And so in the book, they give you the number of the card, the primary intention, and the name of the primary crystal that they're using in the grid on the card. In the book, they also give you other intentions that can associate with that particular crystal. And then they tell you all of the crystals that were used in the grid on the card. Then they give you an explanation about what the grid stands for, and then what the crystals stand for, that the primary crystals that they're working with in the grid. So for this one, Moonstone and Citrine would be the primary crystals and what they mean for the grid, and then what the grid means as far as interpreting it more if you're not able to figure out what the message of the card is. And that is the card, that book I mean. That is the book. And these are the cards. It comes with 36 cards and the guidebook. This is the back of the cards. I believe that is a Celestial Smoky Quartz on the back. Beautiful cards, beautiful watercolor design. And then you have the front of the cards. And as I always do, I am going to show you every card in the deck. So if you'd like, you could just focus on some of the cards. You could watch part of the video or skip around or watch the whole thing. But just fair warning that I am going to be showing you every card in the deck so that you can get a very in-depth idea of what this deck is. I want to show you every single card so that you can see the artistic design of all of the cards. Some decks, the artwork changes. They have different artists, and I have showed those decks in the past and showed you all the cards because I want you to know about all the different artwork that's going on, that it's not the same artwork for the entire deck. And I've just continued that pattern with all of my Oracle and Tarot deck reviews. So we're just going to show them. So they're not in order, but this is Emotion. So as you can see, all of the cards, they are a crystal grid card. So they have a crystal grid on the card. All of these crystals and what they are listed in the guidebook. They give you the primary intention of the card or the message. For this one is Emotions. And they give you the primary stone that they are getting that intention from and that they are working with in the grid, which is Black Moonstone. And this would be the Black Moonstone. The center stone in this one is the Black Moonstone. I will say not every card, the center stone is not always the stone that is the primary on the card. Just FYI. They do have all the cards numbered, so all 36 cards, they each have a number associated with them on the card and in the guidebook. And I love this deck because this deck is not only beautiful, and not only are they giving you real pictures of real crystal grids with real crystals, but they it's an amazing deck to work with because I've never had a crystal grid deck before. I've never had an oracle deck that was crystal grids. I have crystal oracle decks that have a particular crystal on each card, and you can work with the crystal energies and learn more about that particular crystal. But I've never had a deck that is an actual crystal grid, which I think is awesome because you can take one of these cards and the intentions that it's focusing on and place it on your altar or somewhere of importance for you. And it can act as a crystal grid for you, especially if you don't have all of these crystals, or if you're just starting out your crystal collection, or if there's some more rare crystals that are a bit pricey to buy for yourself. This deck is great because you can work with these grids just like you would if you created a real grid at home with real crystals and like a grid cloth, or just a cloth in general, or what have you. If you created your own crystal grid at home, that's wonderful because you have the crystal energy in your home, but you can also connect with the energies, the intentions of the card through the imagery of the crystal grid on the card. So I think this is a great way to bring crystal grids into your life. And even though it's an image, it still brings the intentions into your home, and it's really your thoughts and energy that manifest those intentions. So as long as you have a visual like this to remind you of the grid and of the intention, you're going to bring those energies into your life. I love these cards. There's some cards that have this forest scene with the moon. I think it's so beautiful, such a beautiful backdrop. You can see all of the different backdrops that they have, backgrounds that they have. Some of them are pictures. Some of them are just colors. This one actually has a feather, if you can see that in the background. Beautiful cards. And I also love how these grids are all unique and different. They're not the same. They have a really beautiful design to them. They're very unique from what I've seen crystal grids be made. Like what designs I've seen crystal grids be created into. There's designs in here that I have never seen before, and I love it. Sometimes she does give you a pattern on the back to kind of show you the grid pattern that was being worked with when the crystals and stones were being laid down. It's a beautiful deck. I absolutely love it. Oh, that one's bad. Oh, a couple of them are backwards. It's a beautiful deck. Just gonna flip some of those around for you. There's so many crystal grids. I mean, the fact that you have 36 cards to work with, that's 36 different grids that you can work with. And see, for example, this one right here. The intention is fun, and the crystal that is being worked with for the intention of fun is orange calcite. However, orange calcite's not the center stone in this one. These are the orange calcites. So they are still working with orange calcite in the grid, and orange calcite is their focal point crystal for the intention of fun, but it's not always the center stone, and I don't think it has to be. And that's great to see in this work, that your grid can be whatever you want it to be. Your center stones can be points, or they can just be other tumbled stones. You can work with all different shapes and sizes and cuts and designs of grids. These look like they're actually pendulums. Beautiful deck. This one's just a kind of geode formation. Well, it's a type of lepidolite that kind of creates that bubble form. Let's see, she has two giant selenite wands and then just a small red jasper in the middle. Don't have to have the points in the middle of your grid. That's a really cool design. Reminds me of the universe and the cosmos. Of course, I love this one. Not only do I love the imagery of the deer and the birds and the forest, but then of course it has the star or pentagram, and just like they said, malachite pentagram. And I love the leaf stones. So let's look up this one in the book and just see what other crystals they were working with. So this is a Nature's Cycles malachite pentagram. The intentions are nature cycles, protection, and divas. And the crystals that they have in the grid, they have malachite, they have some quartz, obviously. They have aventurine, that's the green stones, clusters of aventurine. Black agate, I think is these leaves, and optical calcite, which is the points of the star. What's wonderful about this is it really opens up the idea of crystal grids. She has a star, first of all. She has clusters of green aventurine in the middle. So it's just like a handful of stone that she put in the middle to represent that part of the grid. And then they're also working with carved stones. So these are leaves. These are black agate leaves. You could also have animals and other designs that are carved stone in your grid as well. They don't have to be raw crystals or tumbled crystals or points. They can be whatever you have on hand, whatever you'd like to work with. Beautiful, beautiful cards. Lovely energy. I just love that it's a crystal grid deck. I absolutely love this deck for that reason. I can just pull out a card that represents an intention and utilize that grid on my altar as if I made it myself in person. I can also use this as inspiration to create my own crystal grids. I could also look at one of the crystal grids that is created on the card and can decide if I would like to recreate that grid in person and look at what crystals I have and what crystals I don't have, and then either opt to not use the crystals I don't have or replace the crystals I don't have on the card with other crystals that I have. So it can serve as inspiration for crystal designs, crystal grid designs, for maybe taking the grid and creating it yourself if you have the crystals, or replacing or opting some of the crystals in order to create that grid, and also just use the card on your altar as a grid itself and to work with those intentions and energies. So this is a beautiful, beautiful deck. I absolutely love it. And that is the Crystal Grid Oracle by Nicola McIntosh. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and a good night. Blessed be. Merry meet again.